What if AI didn't just filter your social media feed, but determine whether you live or die? Not in the somewhat distant future, but tomorrow morning. In Psycho Pass, when the first episode opens with a man being brutally executed by police because an AI judged his stress level beyond rehabilitation. The true horror isn't the violence, but how real it looks even in 2023 when I first time watched this anime. Right now, an algorithm is deciding whether someone gets healthcare, a job, or a loan. And the person being judged doesn't even know it's happening. While you watch this video, AI systems will make over 5 million life-altering decisions about human beings. They filter job applicants, determine healthcare access, calculate your credit worthiness, influence college admissions, and control what news you see, silently shaping reality around you. But here's what no one telling you. Just like the Inspector Arata in Psycho Pass, you still control the trigger. The quality of your life in this AI-dominated world isn't determined by the answers you receive. It's determined by the questions you ask. Psycho Pass isn't just a brilliant entertainment, it's instruction manual for maintaining human agency in an algorithm-dominated future. Through this journey, we discover that questioning isn't just resistance, it's a reclamation of our fundamental humanity. And yes, before you comment, I recognize the irony of using YouTube recommendation algorithm to warn you about the algorithms. Sometimes we must use the master's tools to take apart the master's house. This video contains spoilers from the anime series, so I recommend watching it first. It takes approximately 28 hours in total to complete, but it's worth every minute, especially if you look deeper. Let's explore how to reclaim control of the trigger. In Psycho Pass, police officers carry a weapon called the Dominator. Not just a gun, but an extension of the Sybil system, an advanced AI network that performs real-time brain scans of the citizens, generating a Psycho Pass reading. Your crime coefficient determines your fate on a simple scale. Below 100, you are healthy and free to live normally. Between 100 and 300, you are latent criminal. The Dominator switched to non-lethal paralyzer mode, and prison awaits above 300. You deemed beyond rehabilitation. The weapon automatically transfers into lethal elimination mode. One push of the trigger and you are the blood mist. The officers don't decide who lives or dies. The AI does. They simply point the weapon. What's truly disturbing isn't that the Sybil system exists in Psycho Pass. It's we've built versions of it already, and they're judging you as we speak. Email filters deciding which messages deserve your attention and what message should go to the trash or spam box. Search algorithms determining which sources are valuable for you. Navigation systems calculating your route based on hidden priorities. Credit algorithms silently evaluating your financial worthiness. Health algorithms in wearables judge your physical condition. Each represents a dominator pointed at your life. The algorithm makes judgment, but do you still control the trigger? The true shock comes later in the series, when we discover the Sybil system's hidden truth. This perfect AI judge is actually constructed from the digitalized brains of criminally asymptomatic individuals. Those minds work like criminals but never register as dangerous on brain scans. This revelation perfectly mirrors how today AI systems are built. Modern algorithms aren't constructed from the literal criminal brains, but they are built from our collective digital fingerprints. Billions of human interaction containing all our biases and flaws. The irony is perfect. We've created systems we believe are objective precisely because they're not human, yet their core functionality is built entirely from human thinking, flaws and all. At the climax of First Inspector, episode 3, something remarkable happens. I even have a goosebumps telling you about this. Inspector Arata points his dominator at the suspect, Azasawa. The Sybil system activates the lethal elimination mode despite the insufficient cause. Arata hesitates and questions the AI judgment. Even when Azasawa himself says, "Just do it, I have no regrets. If Sybil wants me dead, that's fine." But Arata refuses. Instead, he makes his unforgettable declaration.
俺はドミネーターが嫌いだ。でも一つだけ気に入ってる。それは引き金がついてることだ。撃つことの責任はドミネーターを握る人間にまだ残されてる。そうじゃないのか、志村システム。
I hate the Dominator because it's judged who is good or bad. But what I like about it is that it has a trigger and I decide what to do. The responsibility for pulling the trigger still remains with the human holding the Dominator. Isn't that right, Sybil system? The Sybil system, this infallible judge, actually listens, reconsiders, and acknowledges Arata's point. Think about this. What algorithms are making judgments about your life right now? And more importantly, where is your trigger? Albert Einstein once said, "If I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the right question to ask." Think of questions as different camera lenses through which you view reality. When you ask, "Why am I failing?" your brain zooms on the mistakes. Ask, "What can I learn from this setback?" And the neural pathways reconfigure, revealing possibilities that was always there. This isn't positive thinking. This is cognitive neuroscience. Questions create what psychologists call framing that determine which information passes through to your consciousness awareness. Stanford research shows that when you reframe stress as something helpful, like asking yourself, "How is this stress helping me grow?" your performance improves and stress hormones drop. What we're developing here is algorithmic empathy, understanding how AI perceives and processes information. Just as understanding someone's background helps you communicate efficiently, understanding an algorithm limitation helps you interact with it productively. Approaching AI without questioning is like walking through the darkroom without turning on lights. You'll eventually hit something painful. In Psycho-Pass, this contrast is perfectly embodied by two characters. Inspector Arata questions every judgment, examining assumption and demanding evidence. Meanwhile, Inspector Shimotsuki follows Sybil system every time. Her blind trust demonstrates what happens when we surrender our critical thinking. We become just extension of the machine. Try this now. Before opening any social media app, ask yourself, what patterns is this algorithm trying to reinforce in my viewing habits today? Notice how this awareness changes your experience. When was the last time you accepted an algorithmic judgment without questioning it? Take a moment to actually think about it. The most heartbreaking moment in Psycho-Pass unfolds when Inspector Aoyanagi, a veteran officer, is trapped in a facility with the hostages and the manipulative criminal named Koki Mima. Mima forces the hostages into stripping and subjects them to brutal beatings, claiming it's a form of salvation. The intense stress of the situation causes Aoyanagi crime coefficient to spike dramatically, surpassing even Mima's. The Sybil system instantly labels her a greater threat. An officer, placing blind trust in Sybil's judgment, fires a Dominator through the wall without visual confirmation, acting just on the system's reading. A dedicated public servant is killed by the very system she served, all because no one paused to question an algorithm. Even more devastating, the surrounding hostages, already traumatized, also cross Sybil's danger threshold and are executed on the spot. Sybil cannot distinguish between criminals and victims. The officers obey. It was a massacre. This isn't just a fiction. In 2018, a self-driving Uber vehicle struck and killed a woman in Arizona because the AI wasn't programmed to recognize the walkers outside the crosswalks. The human backup driver, trusting the system, wasn't paying attention. One critical question: what might this system be missing? Couldn't have prevented this tragedy. The danger isn't AI becoming too smart. It's humans becoming too passive. When we fail to question the system that judge us, we accept the flaws as our fate. Think about this. What high-stakes decision in your life might currently be influenced by algorithms you've never questioned? In Psycho-Pass, two distinct types of officers offer a perfect metaphor for approaching AI systems: inspectors and enforcers. Inspectors are conventional citizens who uphold the system's protocols with constant anxiety about maintaining their standing. One wrong move and the crime coefficient might rise, ruining everything. Enforcers, meanwhile, have already been marked as latent criminals. Rather than being imprisoned, they use the criminal insight to help catch other offenders. What's fascinating is their paradoxical freedom. Having already been judged by the system, they liberated from the fear that constrains inspectors. This failure gives them permission to question everything. Here's an interesting truth. The characters who've been rejected by the system actually have more freedom than those still trying to please it. Once you stop fearing judgment, you gain power to see more clearly. Enforcers understand something crucial. The systems judging us are flawed by design. They recognize the system's blind spot because they've experienced this dark side firsthand. The question isn't whether algorithmic systems will judge you. They already do hundreds times a day. The question is whether you'll approach this system as an inspector, hoping to maintain good standing, or as a skeptical enforcer, understanding that the system's judgment isn't the final word. Let's apply this to social media algorithms. Inspectors scroll passively, accepting whatever the algorithm serves them, without questioning why certain content appears, why other content doesn't. Enforcers recognize that engagement doesn't equal enjoyment. They understand that emotional triggers, especially outrage, are amplified because they drive metrics, and they regularly ask, why I'm seeing this? Is this serving me or the platform? By the way, have you ever tried a button not interested? Quite useful. Think of algorithms as locks with multiple keyholes. Most people try the same key repeatedly, but asking different questions is like trying different keys until you find one that opens the door. Reflection moment. Think about your last interaction with an AI system. Did you approach it with an inspector-like acceptance or enforcer-like skepticism? Now for the actionable part. How do we apply psychopath's wisdom in everyday life? Less than 1% of people understand how to efficiently question the algorithms that judge them daily. I've developed a framework called the Dominator Trigger Loop. 4-step process transforming you from a passive recipient of algorithmic judgment to an active participant who maintains control. Step 1. Reframe the question. The question flip technique. When facing any kind of pain, our brains instinctively ask disempowering questions like, "Why this is happening to me?" This activates your brain's alarm system, releasing stress hormones. Instead, flip your question to, "How can I use this situation to grow?" This simple reframing shifts your brain from survival mode to strategy mode. When facing rejection from an AI screening system, instead of "Why didn't the algorithm pick me?" you're focusing on a failure. Try, "How can I strategically position my unique value beyond algorithmic filtering?" Focus on the strategy. When getting a poor recommendations, instead of "Why is this algorithm so stupid?" it's a dead-end frustration. Try, "What patterns in my usage might be creating this misunderstanding?" Actionable insight. When most people interact with AI tools, they toss out prompts and accept whatever comes back. Instead, use the probe framework. P. Purpose. Clearly state your specific goal. R. Restrictions. Define constraints and limitations. O. Options. Request multiple approaches. B. Background. Provide exact context. E. Evaluation. Specify how to judge success. For instance, instead of asking ChatGPT, "Give me workout ideas," try this exact template. "I need a strengthening routine for my lower body that avoids pressure on my knees due to previous injuries." Specify the injury. Please provide 3 different approaches. Approach options: bodyweight only, resistant bands, and gym equipment. I'm not so active and haven't trained seriously in about 2 years. Include proper form, guidance, and explain why it's knee-friendly and help me. Well-designed AI systems actually perform better when questioned efficiently. Unlike humans who might arguing or upset questioning and think about it as a challenge, algorithms have no ego to defend. When you ask better questions, you are not fighting with the system. You are helping it overcome its native limitations. Whether it's AI or PhD expert, don't blindly accept output. Instead, adopt these 4 steps, adapted from scientific approach. Step 1. Look at what's really happening, what I'm actually seeing. Step 2. Make a guess you can test. If this is true, then that should happen. Step 3. Try something different. Let me see what happens if I change this. Step 4. Look at the results honestly. What does this really show me? For example, you ask an AI assistant to help plan your schedule, but the suggestions feel off. After giving it more context, like your deadlines, energy level, priorities, or some more specific information, it suddenly offers much better advice. Turns out the problem wasn't the AI, it was the question. Step 4. Elevate your perspective. The most powerful questions. Test your own questioning process. This metacognitive practice develops what psychologists call intellectual agility, the ability to look at the problems from completely different perspectives. These meta-questions to practice daily. What assumption am I making in how I'm framing this problem? What question am I avoiding because the answer might be uncomfortable? What would someone with the opposite opinion ask about this situation? These questions don't give answers. They give angles. They help you think like an enforcer, not like inspector. Someone who's seen the system's flaws and uses that insight to navigate efficiently. These are 4 steps: reframe, direct, test, and elevate. Form an ongoing loop. You can cycle through whatever you face algorithmic judgment. Like Arata realizing he controls the trigger despite the Sybil system readings. This loop reminds you that even in a world of automated decision, you stay in control. Start today 5-minute implementation. For social media, before your next session, write down, I will notice when I feel emotionally manipulated, and ask, what triggered that feeling? For AI tools, try the probe framework on your very next interaction. For algorithmic system, identify one system judging you and apply one test to see how it responds differently. In Psycho-Pass, Arata's confrontation with the Sybil system reveals the core truth we need to navigate our AI-saturated future. As he stands his ground, he declarates,
死んでいい人間などいない。俺はたくさんの人間に共感してきた。正義のために罪を犯す人、他人のために死ぬ人、シビュラシステムには罪人もいるだろう。
我々はシステムの一部になったことにより、罪と罰も超越したのです。
だからって罪を償う権利を奪うな。
Arata's lesson becomes crucial. You are not merely a passive recipient of algorithmic judgment. Like Arata, you control the trigger. Those who approach these systems with the curiosity and skepticism consistently receive better outcomes than those who approach with either blind trust or blind rejection. The question you ask to AI systems, to others, and most importantly, to yourself, don't just shape the answers you receive. They determine what's possible in your life. They are the difference between being trapped by technology and being empowered by it. The most dangerous thing about an AI isn't that it might become too powerful, it's that humans might become too passive to questioning it. Like Arata lowering his dominator, we must remember that while algorithms might determine who gets targeted, we still decide should we pull the trigger or not. This applies whether you're using ChatGPT, being elevated by hiring software, or having your health assisted by medical AI. The ultimate question isn't what the AI decides about you, it's what questions you ask of it and of yourself. Remember, they may own the code, but you own the questions. They may design the system, but you design the interaction. They may judge the outcome, but you control the trigger. For next 7 days, try the Question Trigger Challenge. Apply one technique daily and share your results in the comments. Subscribe to Anime Progress for more practical wisdom from anime that applies directly to your life. In the comments, share one question what changed your perspective on something important. And until the next time, remember, you are an AI dominator. The trigger is yours.